Hi everybody. So we're going to get started with our review of the photographic collections that you've put together for your character. So just a few points here before we get started. As you know, you're going to be, getting photographs, one for every, um, every part of your character. So you want to include every part. And the assignment, this particular assignment says to have a minimum of 5 photographs. So I'd really encourage you to have more than 5 photographs. If you just have 5 objects building your character, then have duplicates. For example, have a few different options for your paper bag, or a few different options for the. I'm just using your example here, Tracy. Um, I haven't looked at what you have yet, but just for example, for everybody. That way, it's also nice to have different options when you start working on your character design next week in Photoshop. You can kind of play with them and decide which one you like the best. Um, and one other note too is that I have no restrictions on where you get the photographs. So, Google Images, Flickr, stock photo sites, your own photos, any collection, any photograph that you think will work for your project. So don't feel like you're stuck with any particular air, um, place to get them. I opened it up because I really feel like at this stage of the game, in terms of where you are in school, it's okay to just use any photograph you find. As you go through the program, you'll notice that we might ask different things, like in terms of paying more attention to where you get photographs. But for now, wherever you find it is okay. Uh, let's see, I think I maybe had one other note here. Oh, yes. And you will find, even if as we work through everybody's drafts, even if you have some really terrific photographs at this point or by the final submission, you've got a really good collection in terms of this assignment, in terms of the quality of your photographs and that kind of thing. You still may find that when you start working on um, your character next week in Photoshop, that you may find that certain parts you really want to revisit and find different photographs, just because as you start building your character, you'll just creatively or visually just want to make changes to the photographs that you've chosen. And please, I encourage you to do that. Again, as I mentioned last week, this is a very organic process, and as you go through, you may want to sort of subtly or radically make changes to your character. You really feel like you could do a better job with it, and so your choices of photographs will be something you can easily change as you go through. This is just a place to start, and it also will give you a sense of what makes a good quality photograph. Okay, let's get started. Okay, Tracy. Okay, so you have Garbage Dump Dan. Just a note that it is Dan, not Don, even though Don is a cute name. But we always want to just, make sure that we're following the client's brief when we're working with the client, and, keeping all of those, um, requirements in mind. Okay, so you've got a melon that you need, a paper bag, paper roll, apple for nose, grass and weeds for the hair. That looks great. What about the eyes and the eyebrows? Did you have a plan for those? So that would be something, that you would want to, revise here, indicate on here what those 2 parts are going to be, and include those in your photographs if you haven't done so already. Um, okay, so let's see what you got here. Okay, yes, so that looks good. Um, Let me just go back here to your sketch real quick. So toilet paper roll for the arms. Yeah, good. Yeah. What makes this a good photograph? There's a few things here. One is it looks large enough, and you can open things in Photoshop and check out the size. In fact, maybe we'll do that right here. We'll pause here to do that. But when we open, I'm in Bridge right now, and I can sort of tell just by the size that this is opening at, that it's a large enough size. If it opens really small in the screen, that points to it being a lower resolution image. And we want, as you guys have learned in the learning activities, when we talk about resolution, we're talking about the actual size, the number of pixels in a photograph. And that's very important, because the higher the resolution of photograph, the better quality it is in terms of, just the being in focus, what you can do with it in Photoshop. So that's important. It also, this particular image has like good color and it seems to be in focus, which is also something we're looking for. And it looks like it will be something that will work in Photoshop. Actually, so let's pause here for a moment and open up an image in Photoshop and make sure that everybody understands how to look for the resolution. So there's actually a number of different ways to find out the resolution of an image. But one way, since we are working with Photoshop in this class, is to just open your image in Photoshop and then check the resolution right here. So there's two ways to do that. Probably the easiest way is just to go to the very bottom. Can you see right at the bottom of the image? There's something called dock here. If you click on it, it'll automatically give you the width and height in pixels, which is what we want, what essentially will really be most useful for us. It doesn't matter the size. You notice there that there's the size beside it, 3 by 3 inches. For our purposes in this class, that doesn't matter, the size at all. It's what we're really interested in, the pixels, because you can take pixels and make them any size. You can make them smaller or bigger in terms of how much room they fill in terms of the image. This is really, that would be most useful for something like printing an image. So we can see it's 960 by 936. That's actually a very good image size for this class. I would recommend anything 900 or higher at the longest dimension will give you a good quality result for this particular class. Another place you can go to is, and it's a little bit out of the video window here, but if you go up to image, and go to image size, image size in the menu, that'll also tell you exactly the same information here, maybe a tiny bit more, but you can see 960 by 936. So that's again a very good image size for this class. Anything above 800, 900, and then anything, you don't have to worry about it being too big, because an image size that's too big is no problem. We can always resize those if we need to, but if you don't have enough pixels, then that's when you run into problems, because an image can be like fuzzy or kind of blurry, what we call pixelated, if it doesn't have enough enough pixels in it. Okay, so let's keep going here. Okay, so Tracy, let's keep going here. Yeah, so this watermelon, so this is too small. Can you see how much smaller it is? So I would find a better watermelon for image for this. Now, where can we find good images? As I mentioned before, anywhere, but let's actually do maybe a search for watermelon so that we can look together, to find a replacement for this. And I'm Tracy, I'm using, because you're the very first person up, I'm using your project to do a lot of demonstrations because I'm sure it'll help other folks too. So let's go to Google Image. Let's do Google Images. It's a good place to find images. Okay, so here we are in Google Images. Now, where is Google Images if you've never been there? You just go to Google and then you click in the upper menu here, you go to Images. That's all. And let's type in, we can type in, let's start with just watermelon and see what we get with that. You might have to tweak that a little, like watermelon slice or cut watermelon or something, but let's start with watermelon and see what we get. Okay, so we are getting some good images here. Now, the next thing that we want to do, so when we look through all of these images, it's going to come up with many, many images. Watermelon is very, popular search. You can actually go over, can you see how you can go over these images and actually see the size? So we know now that this is too small, 436 by 405. That's too small. And I'm going to skip that face, but this one right here, 1200 by 900, that's a much better image size. And so we're looking at image sizes, but you'd also just want to look at the quality of the photograph. Is it photographed well? This one's pretty good. Might not be exactly the way you want it to look, so you could keep searching. But let me show you another trick in here. Google Images I really like because it does a lot of good things for you. And one of them is if we go up to the top here and go to Tools, we can go to size. This is so cool. And we can say larger than, and we're going to say larger than this, 1024 by 768, because anything now that we get with results now will be the right size. So all we need to do here is go through and see if we can find something, that's a pretty good image, that would work for our project. Okay? The reason why I said this is a good image is because it looks a bit like the one you already have. Um, okay, so that's what you want to do with this one. Replace this one. That's a nice image. I like that one. Good. And this is a little too small. This is too small. Okay, so that's what you want to do. And then you want to replace the ones I mentioned. And then you also want to make sure you have the eyes and the eyebrows. Okay, figure out what you want to do with those. So just kind of search for those. I think you have common objects. Those are going to be easy to find if you use Google Images, because there's going to be lots and lots of pictures of apples and grass and watermelons and things. So you won't have a problem. Just put your collection back together, take out these small ones, put the new bigger ones in, and you should be good to go. Okay, Young. So let's see. Butterfly wings. Let's see here if I can. Body of a snow pea, baby tomato, banana mouth, black-eyed peas for eyes, and body of snow pea. Okay. Okay, see what you got here. Okay, so this is a good image in terms of the photograph, like in terms of the way it's been photographed. I'd love if this was a bit bigger. So if you can find a bigger banana using the trick we just did with Tracy, that would be great. And this could work. It's a bit small. I'd like to see something a bit bigger. So if you could find a bigger butterfly wing, that would be fantastic. This looks good, nice. And this is really nice too because it's a good photograph. It's got good color in it. Good texture, detail. That's very good. I think this is good too. These are good too. Okay, that's good. And yeah, maybe something a little bit bigger. The reason why I'm sort of aiming for these, it would be nice if these were a bit bigger, the butterflies, is because this is one of the biggest elements in your particular character. So you can actually have somewhat smaller photographs when you've got tiny little elements, like when they're going to be sized very small, but a bigger one for your larger elements can be very useful. Okay, so that's just a few things here. I think you're right on the right track here. Okay, Chris, let's see. Okay, teddy bear body, baby arm, auto, Carlos. Oh, those are, yeah, cool elements. Okay, let's see what you got here. That's great. That's a great element, nice and big. This will also just be just a lot of beautiful details with the fur. We can really see the fur, every little bit of it. That's wonderful. Very nice. This is good too. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, that's a great element too. Great. Yeah, good. So you've got 5 objects here, and I think that covers all the different parts, correct? So if you want to just, I don't think that you need more than 5 objects in terms of your character. Like I think that 5 can work really well, but if you want to just have like some alternative photographs, in the sense of like maybe if you can find some, I could see maybe finding a few, like maybe one other baby doll arm, just so you have like another option for something. You've got 2 teddy bears. Let's see here. Teddy bear body. Yeah, you get the idea. Just maybe some options for, another selection, like a different wheel, for example. That's all I would do here. I think you're right on the right track, and you've got a good eye for picking out good quality photographs. Okay, John, let's see. Change the cinnamon arms to sausage length. Sure, that sounds like a great idea. Um, let's see, for yours, I'm not sure why. Do you know why? It almost looks like these images got shrunk down a little bit. Um, what I might do here, or maybe when you download it, so this looks great in terms of the size. Wonder what happened to your images though, why they're so small. Okay, that one's a little better. It's still a bit small. And yeah, so all of these look a tiny bit small. So I would, you know, I think you've got a lot of images here, which is awesome, exactly what you want to do. But I would just double check the resolution of these images and make sure that you have images that are a little bit bigger. All right. Um, and yeah, that's the main thing. And one of the notes I did have also last week regarding, do you remember my notes about the pizza slice and how that can be a little problematic for your character, just that it sometimes doesn't work out that well as a character item. So if possible, if you're flexible at all, you might try a different body for the pizza slice. You'll find over time as you develop the project that you might be able to get a better result if you kind of switch things up, like use one of the other bodies that you might have had in your sketches to fill that out. You know, maybe use the other same, you know, some of the other same design ideas you had from this, but maybe make that torso or that body a different object. You know, one that's a little rounder or has more dimension. Okay, so that's what I'd recommend working on just a little bit more here. Okay, Iman. Okay, this is a wonderful image, very detailed, you know, wonderful lighting, good colors. So that's really great. Let's actually go find your character and see what you're working on with your character before we. Okay, okay. So Oreo eyes, donut head, omelet, French toast, and red vines. Red vines. Okay. Okay, that's a good image too for your egg. Nice and big, lots of beautiful detail. This is a bit small. Can you see the difference between the size here, how it just fills my entire screen? I know then it's a good quality image. This is a wee bit smaller. It just opens smaller. So fine, I'm sure this is a very commonly photographed item. You should be able to find something in Google Images that you can replace. This is, you know, this is actually a good, um, well photographed photo. It's a tiny bit small. It'll probably work if you can find something that's a little bit bigger. That would be good. Same with this, I'd find something a little bit bigger. Maybe two, you know, donuts, like there'll be so many donut images. This seems a little bit like, it doesn't seem to have a lot of dimension to it. It seems a little bit flat looking. And that's a feature of not necessarily the donut itself, but just the lighting. And, you know, it's not very delectable looking. So I keep looking for something that is just a little bit more vibrant and, you know, dimensional, like this image. You know, can you see the difference, how great this image is um, with all of the detail? It's just so, you can just reach out and touch it, how this sort of just seems a little bit more, you know, kind of, it's not quite blurry, but it doesn't have a lot of detail and it's a little small. So I would replace that one, but I think you're on the right track here. So just keep looking for a few more better quality images for your collection, and then make sure to also, you know, pump up a few more. Don't just settle for 5 images. Try to find more than 5, even if you only have 5 pieces in your, you know, objects in your character. Okay, so let's see. You wanted to work with number 2. Now you know there is a way to take pages out. You know, if you have a Adobe Acrobat, so you can just delete a page from there. But let's just take a look here. Yeah, I think this is a really good sketch right here. Um, let's see. So banana slices for the eyes, almond mouth, orange wedge, French toast, and let's see. Sausage, eggs. What are the arms here? Bacon. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's see here. Okay, good. Yeah, this is a terrific image. It's nice and big, and it's good quality. This is a tiny bit small, so I might find something a little bit bigger here. Um, Same with this one. It's a bit small. It's a good image, you know, in terms of the detail. It's just a tiny bit small. So I'd find something bigger. Same with this. This. This is great, great image. Nice, nice and big. Looks good. It's a wee bit small. This is perfect. Look how nice that looks. Nice and big, lots of detail. So I would just replace the other ones. And now that we've done the Google image search, hopefully, you know, you can use that as well to gather up what you need. But I think you're right on the right track. You've got a lot of images. Just replace the smaller ones and you'll be in good shape. Okay, Kira, let's see. I go. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. I don't know. What is like the Lego, what is this body part right in here? Is this part of the game controller or something else? Um, we'll see. Let's as we go through. Okay, so this is a cute image, but it's not a photograph of an object. So you need to have a photograph for of a photograph rather than a drawing for all of your objects. So that would be something you want to replace. Like find, you know, if you can't find this exact, you know, head that you want, find another type of object head, like maybe of a doll or a toy or something like that. This is great. Great image, nice quality, nice and big, perfect. This is good too. Yeah, this is good too. And this image, if you look at the instructions for this assignment, you'll see there's some graphics there. If you just pull that up, and one of them shows a graphic that has a lot of text and imagery applied on it. It's one of the things you want to avoid here. So if you can find a screen like this that's just off, that just looks like blank, like a gray image, you know, just so that you just see a blank screen, that will work a lot better. There's reasons for why it's good to have objects without text and images on them, and that's because they tend to not work in the character. They don't read as being part of the character. You know, they start becoming text and graphics. So you'd want to replace that, and this should be easy to replace. Okay, so those are the two images you want to replace, and make sure if you know, if you want to, you don't have to go above 5 images, photographs, but it's always good to do that to, you know, um, really build your collection as much as possible. But at the very least, just make sure you replace those 2 photographs. Okay, Ashley. All right. Well, you took your own photographs. That's that's great. Um, let's see. Okay, let's just take a look here. Okay, that looks good. You know, when you take your own photographs, generally speaking, you know, I can tell that, you know, you took this photograph yourself. Generally, you don't have to worry too much about resolution because your camera is going to automatically shoot at, even like cameras that are lower resolution are still shooting at a resolution well, probably beyond what we need for this assignment. So that's always good to know. Unless, you know, you make a lot of changes to your camera and you want them low resolution. But even then, you know, you're probably getting a good amount of pixels. So this is a tiny bit small. Is this one that you pulled off the internet? Let's see. Diamond-shaped kite. Spinning top. Maybe not. That's odd. I wonder why that got so small. Maybe it just, when you put it into your, this is a bit small too. So just double check your images. I would have, if you can put in some higher resolution images into your PDF, that'd be fantastic. Maybe you just pulled thumbnails. But these are all very, very little. I wonder what happened. It's even a little hard for me to make out, what they are. This one's a really nice image, but it is a little small as well. So it looks like all of your images, with the exception of this first one, need to be changed. So let me just go through. This is, I can tell already though that this is a good image in terms of the composition and detail. I'm not sure what this is a photograph exactly of. Yeah, that'll probably work. I'm just looking at the composition right now. You do need to get bigger sizes. This is, yeah, this could work. You might need a little more light on the object just to make sure you capture a good quality photograph. It's a little bit hard to see what this is. When you shoot photographs yourself, it's good, if at all possible, to get it onto a white, like a blank background, like something like that. It'll make it so much easier later when you select your objects to do that. Like, I think your teddy bear, so this is pretty good. If you can get it onto, a simple background, a simpler background, that would be great. Um, like, this teddy bear, that'll probably work. But if you can find like something simple, even like a white sheet to put behind it, that can really help. Or just a solid color sheet or something, or a blank background. Those can always really help. Because what we have to do is we have to make selections of all the photographs, and the simpler your background, the easier it is. Okay. Okay, now if you find that it's a little too hard to rephotograph stuff, don't hesitate to grab stuff off the internet. This isn't a photography class. That's a whole nother thing that we could spend so much time studying, and I don't want you to have to do a whole lot of additional work when there are so many really, good images out there. So feel free to do either, if you want to do some rephotographing or changing some of your images that way, that's great. If you want to just grab them from the internet, that's also great. Okay, Janessa, yes, photographing is hard, isn't it? Okay, here's your objects, or your character. Good, yep. Ice cream. Man arms, donut body. This is, yeah, so this is, this is probably, I would keep experimenting with this one, just because it's a little hard to tell what it is at this point, just because, it didn't get photographed quite accurately, which happens, so I might just even do like a little internet search and just grab something, high resolution internet image for this, because I think it'll be hard to photograph something so small. Um, I think this is working pretty well. Yeah, that's a good image. And I think this is working really well too. This one's going to be hard. Ice cream is one of the hardest things to photograph, I hear from the food stylists, so I might just grab something from the internet for this. Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah, so I think, maybe a combination of, internet images and your own photographs would work really well. Make sure to, include more than 5 if you can. Like have maybe a few different bananas, or, a few different ice cream, or donuts, because these are some of your big items. So you might as well, have some fun and get a few different ones on there, a few different ice cream scoops. Okay, all right, everybody, I think that's it. So everybody, I think, has a little bit to work on, but hopefully, you all have objects that I think will be pretty easy to find replacements for if you need to take advantage of Google Images and the size function that I showed you, so that you can really easily just kind of flip through the pages and grab what you need. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.